Welcome back. Lasha, what's going on over there?
What's up, man?
What's
Another
up?
week,
Another week.
another show,
App
and
21.
another week finding out who's gonna make the playoffs and who's not gonna make the playoffs.
See, there you
We
go.
already
It
have some
sounds
definitive
exciting.
answers, but
Sounds
some are
exciting.
still
Yeah.
technically everybody's still alive. Even the White Sox or the Rockets are
Yeah,
technically still
yeah.
alive
Nobody's been
mathematically.
eliminated. Yeah, mathematically. We'd have to go on the super run from hell. I'll call it that because it'll be like straight up hell. You have to win every single game to do something about it. I
Yeah,
feel like that's what the Mets situation is anyway. Right now, at the moment, I feel like if we don't win everything, like we have to win every single series from here on out to show the fan base that we can, prevail in a first round of a playoff. Because I don't think we can do that right now. But anyway, let's talk about something interesting that I just, bumped into earlier today. And it's about Manfred wanting to expand and geographically align the divisions, right? So we were just talking about it prior to recording. And it's like sort of like basketball, right? So like, you know, there will be an American League and a National League. It'll be East West. So like those teams, like the Padres and the Dodgers, they won't belong to the National League anymore. They'll be a West club. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be easier for them to travel and play amongst themselves, and have that type of deal going. So things are changing, and he also wants to expand, and he wants to put up two more teams, and we know for sure that one of them is coming out of Tennessee. That's what they're saying. What do you think about that, Lash? I think that's interesting. I like it. It's going to be a different way of looking at the game.
yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. Football has 32 teams. Why not? More teams equals more revenue. Uh, ex- especially if it can be a hit. Look what happened a couple years ago when the NHL added the Las Vegas Golden Knights. They won.
They
They won the
won.
chip. They won the Stanley Cup, and they've been good since. They just added Seattle Krakens too. They're slowly getting together, but it's gonna be a while. But the point is they added two teams. But in my opinion, I think if you're gonna add two teams, you gotta add another team from Canada. So to make it more interesting, I would add in put a baseball team in Vancouver. Why? Because Vancouver is on the west coast, and it's just right next
Mm,
to our west coast. So you could have a Canadian team on the National League side, and then you got a Canadian team on the
on the west
American League
side.
side.
Yeah, I
You
got you
know,
saying,
on
the
the east
east and the
side,
west side. Yeah.
and then yes, it would be great to bring back the Montreal Expos, but that's not going to happen. But I like the idea of having a
Yeah.
team in Nashville. Even though it's a small city compared to Atlanta or New York, or it might be a little bit bigger than Baltimore. I don't know. Baltimore might be small, but either way, it's smaller than the four major markets. It'd still be good. It's a great city, and especially in the summertime, a lot of people go to Nashville. For, whether it's bachelorette parties or whatever summertime fun, and to be able to go watch a game, that'd be pretty cool. Um, and that'd be kind of cool. Maybe it could be like Atlanta's new crosstown, cross state rivals because they both be well, technically we both in the National League, but still, it could be a rivalry within the conference. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. If you can go grow the support, the sport. The problem is, does MLB have the support to uphold those teams wherever you go? Because look at Oakland, man. They finally just got out of Oakland. They struggled for years. Yeah, they were good in the early 2000s, but then after that, from the from the 2010s and until now, they've been just terrible. So that's the interesting question. But I'm sure they can find a way to work. I also believe, not to get on switch topics, but eventually we'll have to talk about this because this year the player bargaining agreement comes to an end, so they got to come upon a new contract. And in that contract, they're talking about having a salary cap in the sport. In my opinion, I don't want a salary cap. Salary cap is where you have to spend up. You're allowed to
Yeah,
spend up to a certain
cap
amount.
is a cap. I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
You know why? Because
I
that keeps
disagree.
everybody competitive. That
No, no,
keeps
no.
everybody competitive. It does, because everybody can spend the same amount of money. So that means that they can't have other great players. You know what I'm saying? They can't have more. They just can't have more. So there's gonna be a spread, and it's gonna make baseball a lot more competitive. It's gonna make your home team a lot more competitive, and I think it's gonna be best for the sport. I think that works, and I think it's great. All right, this is the cap, guys. You have to build a team with this cap. All right, figure it out. You want Mookie Betts and you want Freeman. All right, cool, but you can't have Otani too. But if you want Otani and then you want a lesser version of Freeman, then you have to figure it out. We have to all be competitive. We all have to go out there and work for this, and it's gonna be a lot better to watch. I think it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I agree. The problem, I think, my opinion, I think they need a salary floor because the floor means you have to start at something. Because if you're at a salary cap, that's the most you can spend. So
Ben,
if I'm a cheap team like the Orioles, I don't have to spend that million if I don't want to. You're not going to force me. Where if you have a salary floor, you're forced to minimally start at this amount of money. So you're
yeah, I
forced to, you
understand that.
have to. And
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea because that actually would create more
that would be
parity
better.
in the sense of more compare as far as more competitiveness because maybe you won't have 7 teams already out of contention in early late May already. You
No, no,
know,
but teams like this, right? These teams that you're talking about, the same way the way I feel about the situation, right? I feel like those teams will actually say, "Oh, now we have a shot to actually win this because we can actually get a couple of high caliber players and make sure that they fit the demographic of the team and it all works and the chemistry is there, so I can try to win a championship as well." Because now everything kind of like evens out. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to spread all the stars out. You can't spend all your money on a couple of stars and then have a mediocre team have no pitching. You have to figure out how you want to spend your money. It makes it more interesting. It makes the GM's job a lot harder. You know what I'm saying? Because now you have to think. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the means, you can't say, "Oh, I'm going to spend all my money on one player," because that's not going to work. But
and
I'm
Sal
just
in baseball too, the cap would work because the players are not going to like it because they feel like they might not get as much money. But the cap will work because baseball already has revenue sharing, so they're all 30 teams currently. 30 teams are creating revenue for each other, and they split that revenue. So you can't say you don't have any money because you're getting part of the revenue.
yeah.
You know, but players might not like it because it's gonna be harder to choose. Like, all right, well,
Yeah, like the
this team
solo
can now
contract
add
wouldn't
this.
happen. That
Yeah,
solo contract would have never happened.
everyone
Something like
has a chance now. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
So it's not like, oh well, like going into in that this off season, you knew it was gonna be the Toronto Blue Jays, the New York Mets, and the Boston Red Sox. Those are the 3 teams that were, and the Yankees. Those are the top 4 bidders for him. And we knew what was gonna happen. That the Mets would just blow everybody out the
Chase the
water.
money. Yeah, chasing the money. He's chasing money. It's okay though. He may not be happy here, but he's gonna have to produce for us because he's a baseball player, and I know he wants to win a championship. So he's gonna figure it out. It took Lindor a while, like you said. You always say it. It did take Lindor a while. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this all this stuff that Manfred wants to do, it's gonna happen after they figure out the situation with the Athletics and the Rays. I'm saying? 'Cause the Rays don't have a stadium, and the Athletics are having problems as well. So after all that's figured out, then he's gonna go deep into the situation we just finished talking about. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. You know, the ABS system's coming. All that stuff is gonna be great for the game. So I'm really excited. I don't think it
Well,
takes away.
his
So
biggest hurdle is gonna be this off season because if they can't come to agreement, there's gonna be no baseball next spring. And the players, because you're gonna with these contracts, it's gotta give or take. Okay, you want to do this? You gotta give us players. Players are gonna want this in return, and all right, we'll give you this players if you want that, but you gotta allow us, whatever the case, whatever Manfred wants. All right, we want the salary cap. Okay, fine. The players might be like, all right, fine, if you can give us a salary cap, maybe Maybe we want to have more days, guaranteed more days off than just whatever. I don't know, whatever it is. They, like, well, you want more stuff, then you know what I mean. So it's a give or take, and you're gonna have to give to get something. And I don't right now looking at the players, I don't see them giving up, uh, because um, for example, the salary cap for the players, you know, um, that that organization might just cap out all its money just to get one guy. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm
So
saying. You can't do that anymore. If that
you
happens, you
can't
can't do that
do that.
anymore.
But from a player standpoint, it's not fair because now you can't get any more. Let's say you want an $800 million contract, you might not be able to get that contract now because all the teams are capped at, let's say, the max you could spend is 700 whatever 700 million whatever. Let's just say. So if you want an $800 million contract,
You
it's gonna be
can't
hard to
get
get.
that. You can't get
But
that 'cause it's a max contract now. Think about it. It's
yeah,
max
exactly.
contracts
That's
and
what
it's for shorter years. And it's perfect because now you don't have to see them stupid contracts, that 10-year contract, that 15-year contract,
you know why
just
they
to get
do
the
that.
player. Yeah, just to get the player,
It's
man.
well, no, it's not that. It's well, yes, it's to get the player. The reason why they do long contracts is when you break up the money, it's easier to chew and break down.
Yeah, you
Where
can
if
break
you
it
if you
down.
do 4 years and $750 million or whatever,
It's a
you
lot.
know how much money
It's
you
a
got to
hit.
get per
Yeah,
year.
but that won't exist anymore if you have a salary cap. You know what I'm saying? Because there'll be like a max contract and they'll figure out whatever that is. And it'll be like a 3-year blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm
I
saying?
I think because we already see. I think baseball is like, all right, we're gonna stop at 800 million. That's the max because we already have 750 whatever it was Soto signed.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you gotta have a cap. Because 20 years from now, you could have a guy making $1 billion a year, and it's like it's gonna be crazy. Who's gonna
Yeah,
afford to
yeah.
pay that? You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
I
It's
mean,
only
but
gonna go up.
it's gonna go up, yeah, because somebody's gonna want to break that break that, and it's gonna be a superstar out there that's gonna break that. That everybody's gonna want, and they're gonna overpay for it because all these teams they overpay. Obviously, the Mets overpaid for Soto. You know what I'm saying? They did that because they wanted to win the race. You know what I'm saying? They wanted him so bad. Everybody was fighting for him, so they were like, you know what? We're just gonna outbid everybody, and that's crazy because he's great, but does he deserve all that money? And you don't know what's gonna happen down the line. You know what I'm saying? So whatever, it's okay. We have him. He's not, he's trying to figure it out. Let's give him some time, I guess. This team doesn't look like they want to win a championship, but let's not talk about that right now. Let's talk about the Brewers and how they almost, ran with it again yesterday, but they ended up losing and the streak was over. Today they won already. They already forgot about that. They started a new streak. They're playing a doubleheader against Chicago. Chicago's not looking so good. These are the games Chicago has to win. And the funny shit is that, Lasha, I want you to tell me right now, a little baby trivia before I hit you with the lightning round later. So, name the team that hasn't been swept this year yet.
A team that has not been swept,
That's right. There's only one team in the major leagues right now that hasn't
like
been
a
swept.
Milwaukee
Nope.
or Mets.
Nope.
No, they've been swept.
Oh yeah, man. We've been swept. Trust me.
Baltimore's been swept. Atlanta's been swept. Chicago, Yankees. I'm gonna go with the Yankees. I don't know if they've been swept.
Nah, the Reds. The Reds.
Really,
It
Reds are
really,
weird because they don't look
yeah.
like a playoff contention.
Yeah, yeah. But so this is the team that hasn't been swept. So the Brewers already won the series. They go into this fucking third game, and the Reds say, "No, man, you're not gonna sweep us." And they're the only team in baseball that hasn't been swept, man. They tie it in the ninth, and then they go into into the 10th, and they take it over or something like that. They won in extra innings, but they haven't been swept, bro. The only team in baseball that hasn't been swept, the Cincinnati Reds, and they refuse to let the Milwaukee Brewers go 16 in a row for the month of August because they won today, right? And they're playing in a few. The second game got postponed. I don't know what happened. I guess it was. I don't know what happened over there, but it was postponed. But it was supposed to be a doubleheader against Chicago. The games that Chicago's supposed to be winning right now because they had the division the whole way through, and then all of a sudden Milwaukee went on two crazy streaks. One was like 11, and this one was 14. It's crazy. They're playing baseball.
Yeah, no, Milwaukee's been amazing, and Chicago is doing well, and then they struggle offensively. Tucker's in a slump right now. and they're just their pitching has kind of not been where it was in the beginning for Chicago, and now it's gonna get to the point for Chicago is like now they gotta just play for a wild card because Milwaukee doesn't seem to lose, and they're playing each other. So if you can't take two out or is it, I don't know if it's a 4 game series or 3 game series
Just
currently.
3 game series.
If you can't take 2 out of 3 from them, oh my goodness, you're done.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, maybe Milwaukee go on a sweep streak. It's funny because earlier podcast we were saying there's no pure dominant team that we can say like they're gonna be good. Milwaukee's shown that like no, they're pretty serious. They're pretty good. Even Detroit kind of fell off for a while. They were on the
yeah,
streaks. They
yeah.
fell
But
off,
not,
but
this is crazy though. This is
Milwaukee's
yeah.
consistent.
This is
And
crazy.
they let go of Craig Counsell or a year ago, and he went to
Exactly.
Chicago.
And they lost Stearns, and he went to the Mets,
And they lost their best pitcher Burns. He went to free agency or so on.
and they
They're
let
just
go of
doing a bunch of
Williams too,
nobodies.
and they let go
Kevin
of Williams.
Williams.
He went to the
Yeah, they
Yankees.
found. Yeah, they like the Rays. They find hidden gems and they're contributing. You know, other than Yelich and Contreras and um, Jackson Cheerios, not too many players you can name on that Brewers team that most people would know about. Who? You know what I mean? Unless you
Yeah,
follow the game
with
like
the
we do.
team. Yeah, exactly. So it's
So
crazy,
yeah,
man. But I give them props, man. I gotta give them props. I like it for them. It's a good run, you know what I'm saying? A good race in the division. It's gonna be fun to watch. Let's see what happens if they end up in the playoffs together fighting somehow. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how the bracket is weird. We don't know what's gonna happen yet. Depending on where they fall in the wild card situation, we'll see what happens, man. The Mets are in the same situation, but we're not gonna talk about that yet because we have something else that's even more important to talk about. So you know that on the West Coast, another great race, but it's crazy, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. But all right, so the schedule got set up for San Diego, right? It was a crazy schedule where they had to play San Francisco, right? Who's in the race too, right? Because they were up there for a while, and nobody ever took over first place, right? Until recently, that San Diego actually was able to take over first place, and they had a 1 game lead on the Dodgers. So I couldn't believe it. I was like so happy. I'm happy that that's happening because it shows you that just because you have all the stars and you paid all this money and you have deferred contracts and all this bullshit, it doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that you can't be taken down. But San Diego had to fight San Francisco, excuse me, then the Dodgers for 3 games, and then they have to fight San Francisco again for I believe 4 games, and then they have to fight the Dodgers again. So all divisional games, all very important games. So what does San Diego do? They sweep San Francisco, and I'm like, oh my god! Now they're gonna go into the situation. So on the last game of that series, that's when they took over first place. Now they go into the Dodgers series, and what happens? They get swept by the Dodgers, bro. Tell me what you think about that.
yeah. It just tells you that that's a true rivalry. Teams always tend to show up when they're playing their rivals. You could be on the streak and you play a Dodgers, all of a sudden, boom, same thing with the Dodgers. Because they know the Padres are right there with them, toe to toe. And also they were more aggressive in the trade deadline than the Dodgers were, in my opinion. They got a pitcher, they got a closing pitcher, they got a starting pitcher, all from the
Yeah,
A's.
yeah, they went
They
crazy. They
got
went
two hitters
crazy.
from the Orioles, O'Hearn and Loriano. So they're all in. And
Yeah, definitely.
so so they so you thought going into that series, oh, San Diego could easily take 2 out of these.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I
But
thought.
no.
That's what I thought. But the funny thing is that now LA's back on top by 2 games because they got swept in that series. It's crazy, and it's not over yet because now they have to fight. San Francisco again, and San Francisco is 11 games back now. You know what I'm saying? So they're hurting, but that doesn't mean that they can't go on a run too. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's a pretty good ball club. But now the story is that they have to fight LA one more time. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what happens. And I believe the Dodgers took 8 out of 10 already. You know what I'm saying? In the divisional games. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be
Yeah,
tough.
no, that division. I'm just, I don't know, man. San Francisco's another one of those teams. You made a big deal for Devers, and
Yeah,
they've been so bad since. It's like they got worse instead of better, and it's crazy because Boston got better without Devers. So maybe it just tells you maybe
Yeah,
Devers.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if he's the reason why the Giants are losing, but he hasn't been doing what he was expected to do. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? He's not performing to the level that they were expecting him to perform when they
He was a
traded
yeah.
for him.
I mean, listen, with all the
So
drama, he was still hitting. He was doing his thing, so that's what they expected. Maybe little dip here and there. Change of scenery, different different divisional games,
motivate
different
him a little.
pitching. Yeah, he has to adjust to the league. A different league, different pitching. You know what I'm saying? So he has to adjust to all that. When you're in the same division for a while, you see the same pitches over and over again. Yeah, you see a couple of different pitches here and there, but for the most part, you kind of have a history with these pitches. Now you move to a completely different league, and you're looking at different pitching, so it's gonna take him a season or two to figure it out and get adjusted to that league. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I if since Baltimore's not going to make it, I definitely like San Diego. I
Same here. Oh,
they improved their back of the bullpen because that was their weakness, but they have a good offensive team with Tatis Machado. What's his name? Cronenworth, I think. Yeah, Cronenworth, and now Laureano and O'Hearn. O'Hearn's been great so far. I think I haven't been following him much, but so that's good. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how they do. I think San Diego's been dying. You know that a couple years ago when they got Soto, the reason why they were so aggressive because they were trying to win before the owner
yeah,
died. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. The owner passed away, and so his kids or whoever family members took over. But they still had the same approach: be aggressive because they have a good team. Like what a waste it would be. You have Tatis, a third Gold Glove, and Tatis, Gold Glover, and Machado. I don't know if Girl Cornerworth is and then you got Luis Ariz, another Gold Glover, your first
yeah, it's
baseman.
crazy. Yeah, it's
Hello.
crazy.
Who
What
else?
a
It's
great
just
team, great
they
team.
got a great team, and the pitching minus Dylan Cease, their rotation isn't terrible.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
Dylan Cease's having a bad year. He can all easily come back next year and be lights
well,
out
if
again.
he's yeah, I
I
don't
know
think
he's
he's a
not.
free
He's a
agent
free
though.
agent. He is a free agent.
He's only hurting himself because he's the money he was expected to get. He's not going to get that now, so he's going to have to take like a 2 year deal for
Nah,
less
he can
money
take
and
a 1-year deal and start fresh. You know what I'm saying?
do
It
like what
doesn't matter.
Severino did with the Mets, take a 1 year deal
Yeah,
and killed it, and then got a big
yeah,
3 year deal in Oakland or LA.
exactly. Yeah.
So
Listen, something has to be figured out. It's okay. But I hope San Diego can pull it off. They have a second shot at, fighting these guys. Let's see if they can pull it off. It's like they're scared of the Dodgers. It's like it's Big Daddy. You know what I'm saying? It's Big Bro. It's like when the Mets in Atlanta play. For some reason, Atlanta has our number, man. It's so weird. It drives me insane. But that's what happens. Anyway, listen, we needed help in the rotation. We really can't figure it out, man. Listen, we just won our first series against Seattle this month, right? That's our third game of the month that we've won. We've lost 11, you know what I'm saying? And won three. Like, that's crazy to me. I don't expect us to go anywhere this way. And so we brought up Mr. Nolan McLean, and he was terrific, man. He almost went, six. He went five in the third, scoreless, and he struck out a lot of big boys, He struck out, I believe, Julio Rodriguez and a couple of others. Randy, he did good. And
Rosarina and
exactly.
Suarez.
Yeah, yeah, he did well, man. Listen, I'm feeling him. But they need to bring up Sprout too, you know what I'm saying? Because if they don't, I think this is the only way. We have to, re-energize the rotation. Manaya, whatever. Sean, he can use that help, you know what I'm saying? So I will keep Peterson in there, Manaya, and then I will take Sprout and McLean and keep those four, and then Senga, right? And make that happen right there. Maybe that little mix right there might work for us, you know what I'm saying? It sounds like a powerful rotation. I like it, but let's see what happens. Let's see what they do. So the Mets just finished playing their last game of the series in Pennsylvania, in Williamsport, right? They played the Little League Classic. This is where all the little kids that participated in the World Series, in the Little League World Series, and their families can come and watch the big league ball clubs play. You know what I'm saying? So the Mets already had done it once before with the Phillies, and now Seattle. That was their first time doing it, so they did it with the Mets. That's interesting. It's fun times, you
Yeah,
know.
Baltimore did it a couple years ago. It's fun. It's cool because they actually play at the little league field that
Yeah, yeah,
the players played. It's cool. If you're a little kid, you get
yeah.
to
Can
meet
you
up with
imagine?
your hometown hero.
Can you
Kids
imagine
you,
that?
yeah, and they have a cool tradition where they go sledding on this hill. It's
Yes.
cardboard boxes.
Nemo did it. Nemo and
Nemo did it.
Julio Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. I don't know some other people did it. I don't know if Soto or what's the name Alonzo did it, but I'm guessing I don't know how that works. But anyway, it was a really cool experience for the kids. A good way to interact. And the cool thing they did that they don't do in the regular game is at the end of the game they lined up and shook everyone's hands. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that. I
And
like that.
I like that. It's a cool thing. That's Baltimore. It's like one way for baseball to try to grow the sport. And the Little World Series. I enjoy watching the Little League World Series. I was watching it today. It was Aruba versus Chinese Taipei. Man, these kids are tough, man. These are like 12-year-old kids, and they're just out there having fun. They can play, man. It's crazy. They said there was one kid that he was throwing like 80 miles per hour. But that's in base like the major league. I don't know how they measured that, but I was like, what?
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy. So they're
That's
already at
crazy.
12 years old. They're throwing that fast. I'm like, oh my goodness. But the
Wow.
problem is
Destroy his
wait,
own.
he's gonna be 18 at 18 years old. He's gonna already have
Tommy John.
Tommy
Yeah,
John surgery. It's like,
that's
oh boy.
crazy. Yeah,
But they're
that's
just
crazy.
telling you what they're telling you. It just tells you what they're teaching these kids in the youth.
Yeah, fast.
Throw hard, throw fast. That's how you're gonna make it to the majors a lot quicker. Don't worry about controllability. Your time in baseball is gonna be short anyway. Just make the best of it.
It's crazy.
And but it's true. It works. Everyone likes strikeouts. Who doesn't like a strikeout? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah, I like strikeouts, especially in a big time situation.
of
And
course.
most importantly, it's not the strikeouts that I like. It's the fact that a guy can throw. The first guy I saw that threw that fast was of Oldest Chapman when he first came up. Everyone was so he's like, what, 100? Because average baseball player in the 2000s was throwing what, 80s, 90s average. You know, so it was a
Yeah,
rarity to see
you have to
someone
see that
just
shit.
top
Yeah,
100, and now everyone
yeah.
could do it. So it's boring. It's like baseball. It's like basketball. It's boring now because everyone can shoot threes. All
To
right, even the
threes.
fattest guy on the team can shoot a three. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, it is
You know what I
stupid.
mean? It's just
Yeah, it's not true. There's no
it's
art
not
to it
fun
anymore.
anymore.
It's not a
No, and
specialist
I
thing
like
anymore.
controllability. Controllability is a form of defense because if you can't hit my stuff, I'm defending you from hitting in my ball, and that prevents you from scoring runs or getting players on base. And the players don't do that, and that's why these guys are able to pitch eight innings a game. Roger Clemens, you know, what's his name, Strawberry, and all these guys on the Mets. They could go that long. Because or Santana, when he threw that was a perfect game for the Mets a
Yeah,
couple years. Early to mid 2000s. Is because they had controllability. They didn't have to throw gas. They knew location. They knew their bread and butter. They knew where they could throw the ball. But nowadays, the thing is, players nowadays with location, all these batters can get to where you throw the ball nowadays, and that's why they throw speed now because they know everyone can get to your location. You know what I mean? The thing is we don't see too many knuckleballers, and you know, curveballs. They're more easy to hit nowadays than before. But I remember those are the two of the nasty pitchers. Tim Wakefield, rest in peace, but he was nasty with that underhand slide. He literally grazed his knuckles on the ground while he threw the ball. But man, he had a nasty, and he just was not too many pitchers throw knuckleballs anymore. It's just your common fork,
yes,
fastball, curveball, slider. Your four main pitches that you can think of. No one is creative anymore in that sense. But it's what it is. So speed, that saying, speed works, speed kills. It kills offenses if you
I
can't
agree.
get to
Yeah,
it.
it does. That's what they say, and that's what happens. But the Mets, they're like I said, they're struggling. They just won their first series this month, third game of the month. They're about to play Washington. They have to capitalize. Then after that, we play the Devil, Atlanta again, and Atlanta makes a struggle. It's impossible to beat them. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I can't figure it out. We're not. I don't think we can win the division at the way the Phillies are playing. The Phillies are playing good baseball. Wheeler just went out. He had a blood clot. I don't know how long he's gonna be out for. I don't think they need him right now, and it'll be better
Wheeler,
anyway. Yeah,
So it's probably they put it on a 15-day DL, but it's longer than that because
yeah,
they said it takes at least 90 days for the just any person, whether if that was me that had a blood clot,
yeah,
they want like 90. It's like what is it? 14 days of no strenuous physical exercise on your body, and they say a full recovery is about 90 days. So that's 3.5 months. So he's not going to be back for the playoffs probably, unless
yeah.
they make the World Series. Even then, they're going to be really cautious,
Yeah, that's crazy.
because and they had to take it serious. I don't know how. I don't know how they discovered it. I guess he had a complaint of shoulder pain, and when they went to do the X-ray, they
Yeah,
probably noticed it.
yeah,
That's how
probably.
you notice these blood clots, and those are very dangerous because for those who are not in the medical field, a clot right now where they found it stuck in the area, but if it gets loose, it can travel to the heart or the brain, and then that's what causes a lot of people
Strokes
to,
and stuff.
yeah. So that's why they always like a lot of times strokes, clots can be found in the legs, and
Yeah,
it's scary. So even and it's crazy because you could be a healthy. Look at Wheeler; he's a top-notch athlete, one of the
exactly.
healthiest person. A clot can happen to anybody. You don't have to, you don't have to be unhealthy. It could be anybody. You know what I mean? So it doesn't discriminate. So they had to take it seriously. They said he had surgery today to remove the clot, so it went well. And he was one of the best pitchers. So now they're gonna have to
Yeah,
find somebody to replace him.
yeah.
Walker's gonna have to step up.
He
He's
has been.
definitely
He
done
has been.
well.
He's been well.
He's
Yeah,
done well
exactly.
lately.
He has been.
So
I think that they're the team to beat. That's their division to lose. I don't think the Mets have a chance to catch them. But if they do, it'll be amazing. Listen, you never know. But looking at this wild card. We keep holding on to the wild card. Thank God for Milwaukee being able to, push Seattle down. I mean, I'm sorry, Cincinnati down before they won this last game, so they wouldn't get swept. But we have that 1.5 game lead on Cincinnati, and then St. Louis is behind them at 5.5. So I don't really, I'm not worried about them. But Cincinnati can definitely take us out the playoffs altogether. So we have to be careful. This is such a weird season. I don't know what to say. And Lindor's getting hot for some reason. I'll give you some stats that are pretty crazy, right? So in June and July, right, he gets 21 hits, right, and this is at 103 at bats in June and 102 at bats in July, right. So all those at bats, 21 hits for both. Now we're in August now, 60 games in, 60 at bats in, 60 at bats in, and he has 21 hits already. You know, so that's pretty crazy. He's hitting well. You
yeah, well,
know,
this is what you're hoping for because, like I
yeah,
said, Lindor always starts out slow, but when he gets hot, he
yeah.
stays hot for a long
Yeah,
time.
he's hot right now. He's hot right
But you
now.
need a couple more other guys to get hot. You need
Yeah,
Alonso to
exactly.
get hot and Soto.
Soto,
Soto's
Nemo.
streaky, man. He'll get hot and then fall off, and then he get hot
Yeah,
and then fall off. He doesn't stay consistent.
yeah,
He
it's
wasn't doing
crazy.
that last year, which is weird. So I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
So
I don't
yeah,
know if it's
and
a comfortability issue, get new surroundings, new environment. They could. I'm gonna go with that as the excuse for now, but who knows? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because, in the sense that it doesn't matter in the regular season. What matters is he gonna show up in the postseason like he
yeah,
did. You know what I mean? If he doesn't show up in the postseason, oh my goodness, Mets fans will lose their
pissed off, of course.
brains. Yeah, because
And
what
yo,
the heck? Is this what we're going to get for the next 14 years left? You hope not. In reality, it's probably like 5 to 7 years of good Soto. He's still young, so people forget he's still in his 20s.
yeah, he's a baby. But and
But yeah, Lindor is great,
Lindor is
man.
crazy. Yo, he has 4 home runs already in those 60 at bats. Right when he had 4 home runs complete in those 102 at bats in June and July, 4 for each month. He already has 4 with 60 at bats. So he's really hot right now. Hopefully, this is contagious, and team, just falls into line. And I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna keep watching. Let's see what happens. The Yankees, man. The Yankees too. The Yankees just finished winning 2 series in a row. They beat the Twins in a series. They won 2 out of 3, and they were able to sweep the St. Louis Cardinals. All right. So that worked in our favor as well because they're right behind Cincinnati in the wild card. So that
Yeah,
that helped us as well. You know what I'm saying? But now the Yankees are gonna play some real serious baseball. This is the baseball that I'm talking about right here. They know they're down. They know how many games they're behind. They need to get back into this race. And guess what happens? They land on the Rays lap. They have to play the Rays for 2 games. Then after that, they
In Tampa at their
Tampa
home
in
spring
Tampa.
training center.
Exactly. And then Boston comes to New York. And
Yeah,
that's
Boston's
where it's
ahead of them right now
yes,
in
exactly.
loss.
So this is it right here. This is the time right here. This is it right here. They have to take at least
You have to win your division games. You
yeah,
can't,
yeah. This
even
is it
Boston.
right
Look at
here.
Boston. You got to take advantage of Baltimore. Baltimore is done. You shouldn't. Right now, Baltimore is winning, but
Yeah.
Baltimore is going to be a tough out. But back to Tampa, and Tampa Bay always plays the Yankees well.
Well,
I would
exactly.
not be surprised if they
Exactly.
take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. They need to figure it out because the wild card it's insane right now. Seattle's there right in the middle, but Boston holds the number 1 wild card slot, and then the Yankees have that last one. So beating Boston would really propel the Yankees right back into the division
They
and
got
the
to go
fight.
4-2 in these next 6 games.
Yes, yes. Pivotal games. This is the most
Yeah.
important 2 series of the season for the Yankees. Believe it or not, believe it or not. I'm not just saying that. It's a serious thing. It's not a joke. Like, and Cleveland's right there. But you know what happened to Cleveland? Cleveland was right behind the Yankees in that wild card situation. But you know what happened to
They
Cleveland?
still are. They
They
got
got
swept.
swept by who? By who? The Braves. Get out of here.
Oh yeah, Braves. They had a
The
great
Braves.
series.
Yeah, the Braves. A good series. Let me add it up for you. So the Braves won the first game 2-0, right? Then the Braves win the second game 10-1. So now that's 12 runs to 1 run. And then the last game, 5-4. Right? So that's 17-5. All right. Run scored. That's crazy. I'm sorry, but if the Braves had a little bit more time, I think they would have a shot to change things. I'm just
No,
saying.
but they lost all their starting rotation. They have nobody, and the offense was Michael Harris was doing terrible, but now he's gotten hot. Now he's doing good, but it's a little too late. Acuna was kind of up and down. Riley wasn't all that great. He has up and down. Olsen is the only one that been consistently good for the most part. Albies, he's been all right, but they don't rely on Albies to be your. And then the other thing is keep changing with the changing catches between Murphy and Baldwin. Baldwin's been doing better than Murphy, but they keep rotating him out. They're just Atlanta's a mess. Their bullpenners are terrible. The rotation is all washed away, and the offense is the biggest disappointment for me because it's not like they lost to Kuhn. Yeah, he was out for a while, but in the
He's always
beginning,
out for a
but
while.
it's not like they lost two of their best starters. I mean, best starting position players for the whole year, and that's why they're terrible. They're just not producing. Harris was terrible, man. He couldn't do. He would swing out balls that all way outside the zone. Just being impatient, rushing at his at bat, and he still played great defense, which is great, but doesn't do you no good if you can't score runners in scoring position. So yeah, Atlanta maybe if they had another month, maybe if you push
Yeah,
it back to July, maybe they have a chance, but
that's what I'm
it's too
saying.
late.
It's too
And
late now, but
yeah,
they have a
they'll
shot.
probably get back to 500. I can see them making 500, but right now they're losing the Chicago White Sox 7-0. So and then they play the Mets at the end of this week in Washington in Atlanta. I mean,
Yeah, it's gonna be
um,
crazy. I can't wait for that series. I want to see what the Mets are gonna do because seriously, we can't let these guys get us this time. We can't. We need these wins. It's important now. So we're getting to the part of the show where you're gonna tell us what the pitcher, the gunslinger, right, and the hitter of the week are. And I like one of these guys actually. Actually, this is actually really interesting because of the teams that these guys play for.
so the hitter of the week uh, is Francisco Alvarez of the Mets. He went on August 12th versus Atlanta in the 13-5 Mets when he went 3 for 4, 2 home runs, uh, and a double and 4 RBIs and 3 runs. Alonso also had 2 home runs in that game, so I could have picked him too, but he had one less RBI, and I don't know if he had a double. That's why I picked Alvarez.
I got you. That's
So
still good
it
luck.
was
It's a good look.
yeah,
Good look. He's been
and
great since he came
Alvarez has
back.
been good, and I think
Yes.
what the Mets did with Alvarez, what the Yankees need to do with Volpe. Stop
The
worrying about
reset,
his
the reset,
feelings.
the reset.
Reset the guy. Yeah, guess what? It motivates him to play better, hopefully, and it's working for the Mets. The gunslinger of the week is on the Orioles, and he's had a horrible
Interesting.
year. He's had a horrible year. Um, but when I tell you the stats, it's not because I picked him because he's Oriole. On Friday, this past Friday, the 15th, versus Houston in a 7-0 Baltimore win, he went 8 innings, 1 hit, 0 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, no
Yeah, that's
walks.
incredible.
He almost had
Incredible.
a perfect game, but he blew it because Ramon Urias, the guy they traded to Houston, hit a little silly single, and he Young went to go field it, but he rushed his throw and overthrew the first baseman and won the
Oh,
game. So he might have made it. I don't know if he would have made it, but it was 2 outs in the eighth inning. So if he had gotten that out, he might have made it to the ninth. Who knows? But at the end of the
yeah.
day,
You have
it's
to give it to him.
surprising
You have to give
because
it to
he's been
him.
horrible. Yeah, I gotta give my hats off. He's been horrible. His ERA is above 5. He's been terrible for Baltimore, but he's a replacement because other guys are either not back from injury or they got hurt. So Baltimore's job this year is to try to see if we get back to 500. Start playing the young guys. They just called up 2 of the young prospects, Dylan Beavers for left field, and they called up the backup catcher Sam Basayo. He's not backup. The next catcher Sam Basayo. He's a really big guy. He kind of reminds me of Salvador Perez. But
Gotcha.
he's a very aggressive hitter, which is a concern because that means he's gonna have a high strikeout rate. But in his first at bat, he had a base hit and an RBI, so that was good. So who knows? He's catching tonight. But it'll be interesting because now if you got 2 catches, that's gonna be great. You can rotate them. You can have one guy play the DH. You can have one guy,
Yeah.
or if you really want, I think what Baltimore is gonna do, in my opinion, is move Rutschman to first base and have him be the first baseman permanently. Because Mountcastle's a free agent. I don't see them resigning him at the end of the year. The reason why they didn't trade him because he got hurt, so they couldn't trade him at the time of the deadline. But yeah, Brandon Young, so he did good. I was surprised how well he pitched. I don't know if that's a sign of the future or just a one off type of thing where he just lucked into a good game. In my opinion, he just lucked into a good game.
It's okay.
Everyone was playing well. But interesting fact regarding Baltimore, since the All Star game, they only have 11 errors total, and they're tied for the ninth best with the fewest
That's
amount of
nice.
errors. So they're
No,
starting
they
to play
got
better
better.
defensively.
Yeah.
That's why they took 2 out of 3 from Seattle. They took 2 out of 3 from Houston, and they have a 2 game series against Boston, which I don't know why. But if you
Yeah, I
can
don't know
take
why
two
that's
out of three
happening.
from if you take 2 out of 3 from three starting playoff teams, that's a good sign. That means there's hope for Baltimore next year. I think they just got derailed. They got derailed because they had no starting staff and they didn't do anything to fix the starting staff. And as far as the trade deadline goes, they were just getting rid of players that they're not going to re-sign. So they didn't really do much. And then, they lost their closer for the year. So now it's just about, let's try this guy, see how he works. Bring these guys up to the minor leagues, see how they do. And then maybe you might find a gem, Maybe you might look at the Mets. They found McLean just by
Yeah.
bringing him because he was a substitute start for somebody else. But hey, maybe he's your new starter next year.
No,
He
he
could
should be.
he could be at the third guy in the rotation. You need him. With Senga kind of being up and down, he's still getting comfortable. Montes,
Yeah.
Manaya. So
Monsters, forget about that.
so now he could probably be your fourth starter, McLean. Who knows? Or maybe you can have him. So that would be good. You need a starter, and then maybe next year, they might bring him that guy. What's his name? Wong
Bro,
or
yeah, that
Sprout
guy's a,
or Wong,
yeah,
whoever his
both of
name
those.
is.
Yeah, one of those two, both of
Who
those guys.
knows? So yeah,
That
so
has
then
to be the plan. That has to be the plan. Well,
yeah, you don't want to
hopefully,
waste him in the AAA.
definitely we need it right now. We need the help so bad. But it's trivia time, sucker, and it's gonna hurt because it's gonna be a little lightning round. Okay, if you get
Fast,
the
fast,
question,
fast, fast, fast.
if you get it wrong, I'll tell you what the answer is, and we'll keep it pushing. All right. So check it out. In three, two, one. Who holds the record for the most career hits in MLB history?
Cal Rip. No, no, no. That's consecutive games. Uh, no.
We did a podcast about him the other day. He just got reinstated. He's gonna go to the Hall of Fame now. Finally, he was banned for.
P Rose.
Thank you, sir. What is the
Yeah.
name of the annual game between the American League and the National League?
The Summer Classic, the All Star Game,
All right, baby. What is the name of the
Midsummer
league?
Classic.
You got it right. It's the All Star Game. What is the name of the league that the New York Yankees play in?
American League East.
All right. How
Or
many
American League.
innings are in a standard baseball game?
9.
What is the name of the award given to the best player of each league?
The MVP, most
All
valuable
right.
player.
All right. What is the name of the team that the New York Yankees have played the most in the World Series against?
Ooh.
Mm.
Is it the I think I want to say the Dodgers.
Now the Giants, you were close. Now
Giants.
the
Wow.
Giants, yes. All
I just
right.
know that St. Louis. You know, I was saying because I know St. Louis is the second on the list with the most championships
Also,
after the
championships after the
Yankees.
Yankees, yes, 1000%. And I believe that's at 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
Who was the first player to hit 500 home runs in the MLB?
Either let's see, either Sosa, McGuire, or Bonds, or I don't
First
think
player to hit 500 home runs in the MLB.
Babe Ruth. He hit a lot. I go with Babe Ruth. I don't
You
know.
got that right. What is the name of the
Really,
stadium where the Los Angeles Dodgers play? What's it called?
Dodger Stadium.
All right. What is the name of the award given to the best hitter in each league?
Oh, geez, I should know this. Um, I know Cy Young is for pitchers. MVP, no. Silver Slugger.
You got it, baby. All right, not bad, not bad. Not bad for lightning round. Pre-rolls got you, and a couple of ones, and then I throw the easy ones in there, and then you're like, yeah, I got that. Then the next one is kind of hard, and
Had
then you're
to
like, oh
think about
man,
it.
you had to think about it a little bit, but you did pretty well considering. You know what I'm saying? So we came to the end of the show. It's getting close. It's gonna be a lot of important baseball happening if you guys are listening. So the Yankees are gonna be playing a lot of great baseball. Even if they lose, they're gonna have to fight their way out of a paper bag because they're gonna have to fight. If they want to stay in this race, they're gonna have to fight. The next two series very important. The Mets have a problem. Hopefully Lindor can stay hot and somebody else can latch on to that. And we have to beat Washington. We have to beat Atlanta. Same problem they have. We have divisional games, what I'm saying, are very important, like Lasha just said 2 seconds ago. We all know this. So this is the time for both New York teams to shine. I don't really care what happens to the Yankees. And I'm not saying I'm praying for their downfall, but I'm a Met fan. So, and I know Lasha hates the Yankees, so we're not going to even discuss that part.
Yes.
We're not even going to
Yeah,
discuss
yeah.
that. But hope you enjoyed the episode. Lasha, you did great. And we're going to keep
See you
flowing.
next week.
Peace, guys.